I think that game was really, really good for our team. There are a lot of things from that game that are obvious, right? It was super physical, chippy, ugly, nasty. There's turnovers, there's fouls, there's fights, there's a level of tension like in the game and in the arena that we really haven't seen this year. And Detroit's an incredibly hard-playing team. They're really physical. And I think they really sort of like test your emotional stability. Like, are you going to crack? Are you going to just fall apart? And I think the best part about that game was, like, there were moments of high emotion for our group that come with the territory of playing in a game like that, but it didn't fracture us. Like, we were in those moments together, and I thought the team communicated really well throughout a lot of those moments. We had a ton of guys make a lot of big plays, but playing in that type of environment shows our team that there's a lot of different ways to win. There's a lot of different types of games you could play in. Like, we have not seen a game like that all year. I don't know if I've seen a game like that in 5 years.
Keontae told me after shoot-around today that defense was going to be the way you guys had to come out to impose your will. And what did you like what you saw from that from the start of the game?
Yeah, I thought the team was really active. We made a decision as a group that we wanted to mix up our coverages a little bit with some trapping and a couple of things that just sort of heighten our awareness and make us have to play with a different level of urgency. And the team responded. Those things take a ton of communication because it's predicated on who's in the game for them, who's in the game for us, what the matchups are, what the actions are. And I think the team did a really good job of flying around and making it tough. Detroit made some tough shots. They've got a lot of shooting. But I think overall, like, we did a pretty good job as a group of flying around on the defensive end. It's another night where you look at, like, the total number of points and some of those being points in the paint, fast break points, and I've got to go back and watch how many of those were because of live ball turnovers, and how much of the turnovers hurt us tonight. But yeah, I thought the team really competed tonight. Like, it's great to win, but if we hadn't won, I would have walked out proud of the team. Like, because if we play with that level of urgency, physicality, tenacity every night, that's something you can always be proud of.
When you've got that many kind of extracurricular things going on throughout the course of the game, like, guys getting ejected, guys are bleeding, guys are yelling at fans, like, there's all these things. How do you kind of keep things centered?
Yeah, I mean, every coach will say next play mentality. For us, we talk to the group about, like, this is good. This is the good part. The chaos is good. The heightened emotion is good. Like, this is a situation that's good for us. Like, let's reframe it in our brain. There's nothing to panic about. Like, I wish every game was a little bit chaotic and disruptive like that. I don't wish that everybody was bleeding. I don't wish that we would fight every game. But, like, that'll be taken out of context for sure. But the tension in the building, I think, was just good for our group. And yeah, like, that's our responsibility as a staff. It's not just me; it's our assistants. I'm up and moving around, and they're sitting on the bench with the guys who've subbed out or about to go in, and they're calming them down. They're keeping them focused on what's important. So it's a group effort in those moments to keep perspective for the team about, like, what's the most important thing right now. But yeah, there's a lot going on today.
Do nights like this, where you say this is good for our team, just to feel like this type of tension in a game, does that help your team and looking forward in development tap into this when you don't have maybe that tension just at a different type of arena or things like that? Or how do you, like, view that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about bottling and trying to repeat the level of urgency that we played with. I don't know if we'll be able to recreate that type of like tension every night. That would be hard to do. But I do think that it's good for the team to feel that, because it's the first time we have. Because again, like, there's no way to replicate that environment in a practice setting. So they know what it feels like. It will probably help us in a way where on nights where it's not that tense, maybe the panic button isn't pushed. It's like, oh, we've been in this sort of crazy type of game before, and this isn't that crazy. So I think if nothing else, it'll probably give our team perspective on like what an ugly game actually is, and hopefully help us work through the moments where, as a coach or as a fan or as anybody, you go like, this isn't that bad. I don't know why we're panicking right now. But I just love the way that like the emotions went up, and we rode that wave to a degree, but we did it as a group. It wasn't us yelling at each other or the team fracturing in those moments. I thought the guys stayed pretty unified throughout.
I know that they started pressuring Keontae and Colin a lot. Also was up there quite a bit, pounding on, picking them up full court and stuff. How else did you see kind of their defense change after the first quarter?
Yeah, I mean, they were physical everywhere. You know, the Lowry running off of screens, they're into his body and pushing him up the floor. They weren't letting Walker move to screen as freely. They were blowing up on-ball actions, off-ball actions. You know, but their ball pressure at the point of attack was really high level tonight. You know, Thompson does a great job of it, but I thought Cade Cunningham really guarded the ball well. I mean, they had a bunch of guys who were picking up pretty high on the floor and being disruptive. You know, Colin and Keontae have to deal with it more than everybody else, or maybe have to deal with it in a more obvious way than everybody else. But I think that, like, I mean, John was getting pushed and grabbed and hit and held as he moved around. So it was, everybody dealt with it, but I think the guards out front, just because of where it is on the court and they have the ball a lot of the time, it seems more obvious, but I think it was a physical game for everybody.
Thank you.